Hello everyone, Charles Watts here, the Arsenal correspondent at Goal, joining you on the eve of the new Premier League season. Arsenal getting underway tomorrow in less than 24 hours time against Fulham at Craven Cottage. It was only just a few weeks ago that we saw Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang scoring those 2 goals against Chelsea and then dropping the FA Cup FA Cup trophy, on the turf at Wembley. But now we're back in league action once again. Big day for Arsenal tomorrow. Big day for Mikel Arteta. His first full season in charge begins in West London, and we've just been speaking to Mikel today during his pre-match press conference. So I thought I'd come on here and just talk you through some of the big highlights, some of the main talking points to come from Mikel's press conference, and then just go over a couple of other little bits as well. Team news ahead of tomorrow's game, and also a likely starting 11 for the game at Fulham. So we'll go straight into Arteta's press conference because there was plenty covered today, as you would expect. The big sort of main talking points from it, we'll start with Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang, just get this one out of the way early. Still no official announcement on his contract, but Mikel Arteta finally as good as confirming now what we've all said for a long time, that contract has been agreed and Aubameyang will be staying for another 3 years. When asked if Arsenal fans should be concerned about the fact that it hasn't been announced yet, with a big smile on his face, he said they should be relaxed. I think that tells you all you need to know about what's going to be happening with Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang, just waiting for that confirmation. Doesn't appear that it's going to come today, although saying that it's still not even 3 o'clock yet on Friday, so Arsenal might whack out a late Friday, late afternoon, late evening announcement. Doubtful, but we'll have to wait and see what happens next season. But I don't think we'll be waiting too much longer for the news that Aubameyang has signed his new contract. Elsewhere in transfers, obviously dominated talk of the press conference today. I'll just run you through here some of the main points from it. Mikel Arteta saying that Arsenal are very much still active in the transfer market, as you would expect, with still a fair few weeks to go of the market. And Arsenal brought in 3 players, but they've still got plenty of work to do in terms of outgoings as well as incomings as well. And Arteta speaking about it here, I'll just read the quote I have from him. Says, we're still active in the market. We're looking at different options with players in and out. At the moment, the squad is unbalanced. It's not ideal, and what we want to achieve. There is still work to be done, but we have to bear in mind the complication of this market and the complexity of it as well. It's quite interesting now, I thought, in terms of him saying the squad is imbalanced. He's obviously got what he wants in defence. In terms of new incomings, he's pretty much got his attack. I'm not expecting anything really to happen now in attack between now and the end of the season, end of the window, unless Lacazette gets sold. But I'll talk about Lacazette later on in this. So the midfield area is what he means there. Is certainly what he means when he says about players in and out. It says, first of all, numbers-wise, some positions are overbooked. Some others, in terms of specific qualities we need, and they are still not there. And that's what I think he's talking about when he looks at the midfield. Obviously, Thomas Partey, Houssem Aouar, the 2 players Arsenal very much in the hunt for, and would like to get at least one of those over the line before the end of the transfer window. Won't be easy though. And as Mikel said there, still needs a lot of work to do in terms of outgoings, because they've got a lot of players on the books that they could do with getting rid of. Players we already really know who those are when you talk about El Neni, Guendouzi, even. Lucas Torreira. There's still plenty of work to be done in the transfer market for Arsenal. But if you've seen the stories and the interviews that we did yesterday with Vinay Venkatesham and Edu, you'll see they were talking about how difficult the market is proving in terms of getting players out the door. So it's not going to be an easy time. Arsenal got till October 6th, obviously, to get their business done, but it's not going to be easy for them. But I thought it was quite interesting now, Arteta saying that. But they are still active in the transfer market. So for you guys who are worrying, who are fretting, and believe me, I know you are, because I get all my notifications on Twitter and your comments here on YouTube. I know you're still concerned about work that needs to be done, but Arsenal are still active in the transfer market. I did ask him about Houssem Aouar. I got the exact response I was expecting from him, just basically saying I don't want to talk about players at other clubs. I put it to him that Juninho, the sporting director at Lyon, has publicly admitted that Arsenal have been speaking to Lyon about Houssem Aouar and that they offered Matteo Guendouzi in a swap deal, hoping that might get Arteta to at least break from his tradition of not speaking about other players, but it didn't happen. He very much answered me with a straight bat, as you would expect. And just on that, on Guendouzi, I also spoke to Arteta about Guendouzi, sort of following on from that Aouar stuff. Guendouzi back in training now, and I asked him, does that mean something's changed? Because last year you said, at the end of last season, you said nothing's changed, and that's why he wasn't part of the squad. But now he is obviously training again with the first team. So does that mean something changed? And he says Matteo's been training like any other player in the squad. Obviously, it's a new season. We've had some really positive conversations between both parties, and now he's back with the group training. He's been training really well. So nice positive words there for Matteo Guendouzi. I still think if Arsenal can, they will try and get him out before the end of this window. Whether it's going to prove possible, we'll have to wait and see, because we've seen they've struggled to get him out, and they've been offering him all around Europe since the window opened. And so far, there hasn't been any takers, as we saw with Lyon when Arsenal went, and Juninho again publicly admitting that they didn't want Guendouzi when Edu offered him. Elsewhere, I asked him about Alexandre Lacazette. All the talk's been about Aubameyang, and haven't really had many questions on Lacazette, so I wanted to get Arteta on that today. He said last season that he was going to have a conversation with Laka, work out how the club and himself viewed his future. I asked him, has that conversation happened? What had been the outcome of it? And he said to me, Laka's really happy here. He wants to keep improving and keep contributing. I know how good he is, the impact he's having. He knows about the competition we have with the front players, so he needs to demand himself to be the best striker at this football club, the same as the rest. And he was happy to hear that, and he's been training and conducting himself excellently. So nice words again there for Lacazette. And then I said, so has Laka said he wants to stay to you, because there have been reports that he's pushing potentially for a move, and he says yes, I think he's very happy here, and that's what I got from the conversation. So interesting there on Lacazette. I thought he's got less than 2 years left on his contract, Lacazette. So you've got to think, if he is going to stay, which I don't think is absolutely guaranteed right now, because there's still a fair few weeks of the window left, and like I've said many times on here, I think pretty much everyone's for sale in this Arsenal squad at the moment if a decent bid comes in. But if Arsenal don't get the sort of money there potentially after for Lacazette, then obviously he will stay. But then you've got the situation of do you try and get him to sign a new contract, because this time next year he's down to his final year, and it'll be that same situation again. So I think it's one to certainly keep an eye on how the things progress with Lacazette. He also spoke about Emil Martinez, but didn't really add anything much to that as well, saying that he couldn't really stop the speculation. Obviously Martinez very heavily linked with Aston Villa at the moment. I wrote a story on it the other day. They absolutely want Martinez. He's tempted by the move. He'd prefer to stay at Arsenal, but unless he's given assurances about being a first choice, then he will look to move elsewhere, because he wants to play for the Argentina national team. So moving on from that, we'll talk about team news for the game tomorrow at Fulham. Who is going to play? Who's not going to play? Well, we know David Luiz is not going to play. We know Socrates is not going to play. So two of Arsenal's most experienced centre-backs not involved because of injuries. David Luiz has got a neck problem, which apparently he's responding well to, but he's not going to make it tomorrow. And Socrates has picked up a calf problem in training. So you think Arsenal got 8 centre-backs at the moment. 5 of those are injured and won't be involved at Fulham. So there's no Luiz, no Socrates, no Mustafi, no Chambers, and no Pablo Mari, although Mari is due back in training at some point this month. So that leaves just Saliba, Gabriel and Rob Holding as the fit centre-backs going into tomorrow's game. Now, I'm still not sure both the new guys are going to start tomorrow. I think even with those injury problems, I think it might be a bit of an issue throwing both of them in. And Gabriel really hasn't had much game time at all and training with the group. I think it's probably a big ask to throw him straight into a Premier League game. Saliba maybe a lot more of a chance, because he's been playing in pre-season. He arrived in England a long time ago, had time to accustom himself to his new surroundings, to his teammates. So I'm not sure Gabriel will start. I'm going to go through my likely team news now. My likely 11, starting 11. I think Bernd Leno gets the nod in goal. I think once that happens, then probably going to hasten Martinez's exit. But I think it'll be Bernd Leno in goal. I'm going with the 3-4-3 formation that we saw Arteta play, decide on during the last few weeks of last season. I thought it worked pretty well for him, and I'm gonna stick with that formation. So Leno in goal, Saliba, Rob Holding, and I'm going to go Kieran Tierney on the left side of the back three. I think he might bring Tierney into one of the central positions. And then he'll have Hector Bellerin on the right of the midfield four, obviously dropping in to make it a 5 when Fulham attack. Danny Ceballos, Granit Xhaka, and I'm going to have Bukayo Saka playing as the left wing back, with Tierney obviously as left centre back. And then the front three, I'm going to go with Pepe on the right. Might be Willian, could well be Willian, but we'll have to wait and see who gets a nod on that side. I'm going to go with Pepe right now, Orba on the left, and Eddie Nketiah in as a central striker. I just got a sneaky feeling Nketiah might get the nod over Lacazette tomorrow. Fresh from his goal for the 21s at the weekend, played a lot of football obviously during pre-season. Lacazette didn't. I think he's probably going to be in better shape than Lacazette is, so I think Eddie probably gets a nod unless he came back with any sort of problem from the England team. So that's my predicted starting 11 today. That's my review from today's press conference. Thank you very much for joining me, everyone. If you just stumbled across this channel and you're still watching now, 10 minutes 20 seconds in, please do hit the subscribe button. It is down there somewhere, and I'll try and keep you as updated as I possibly can as the season now progresses. I'll be at Craven Cottage tomorrow, so I will try and do my usual video on here that I'll upload just after the final whistle on reviewing the game and my player ratings. So please do keep an eye out for that one. And until then, everyone, enjoy yourselves, enjoy the weekend, and come on the Arsenal.